Hey YouTube and Reddit. So today we're going to be doing a review on Tomotachi Sushi and Roll. You're going to have to forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Um, so I'll be mentioning mine and my wife's score throughout this, just because my wife had a lot to say about it, so I thought it would be good to compare my opinion to hers. And I also, for the very end, will be comparing the average scores I found online of the place to mine, so you can see how, I guess, different mine is to everybody else's. So Tomachi is a Japanese cuisine store, mostly seafood and sushi. And they opened in 2016, May 17th. And you can find them located on 1168 Smythe Street, Fredericton, New Brunswick. As well as I'll put some information about when they're open and stuff and contact information and their Facebook down below. So they also offer like things like takeout reservations. They also have wheelchair accessibility. They serve alcohol, and then they do stuff for special diets, they claim. So let's jump into this review then. So for accessibility, me and my wife give it a 5 out of 5 for a few different reasons. One is it's wheelchair accessible. It has close to a bus route. Parking lot has lots of space. It's located uptown. There's several locations around it. Other stores are nearby. And when you're inside, it has room for wheelchairs to move through and proper tables set up for that they can just roll in. So all that's really nice. I think accessibility was really good. For atmosphere, I gave it a 2 out of 5. And I felt uncomfortable when I was sitting in the chair. And my back hurt a little. That could be just me, my bad back posture. But I did feel like it was worse than when I sit in most restaurants and places. Now, my wife, she gave it a 3 out of 5. And her, I guess, only complaint she really had is we were seated fairly close to the door, and she said whenever the door was opened or not, she could really feel the wind blowing, and even when the door is shut, she could still feel a little bit of a chill coming from there. Now, I mean, I guess we could have asked to be put somewhere else, and there were a couple of locations a little closer to the door, because they're off to the side, and ours was just directly from the door, but yeah. Cleanliness, me and my wife both gave it a 4 out of 5. There's nothing really noteworthy to mention about it. It wasn't really dirty, but we can't say it's the most clean, like the cleanest in the world. Like I wouldn't lick the floors for sure. For staff, me and my wife both gave it a 4 out of 5. The first lady who dealt with us seemed uninterested and in a little bit in a rush, but we only momentarily had to deal with her. We had the second lady we had to speak to, and she's very pleasant, and we had quite a few demands and stuff. I wouldn't say demands, but we kept like wanting specific ways our order was, or at the very end we kept bothering her to get like a takeout bag, and then we asked for extra sauce, stuff like that. She was very pleasant, never seemed annoyed at all, and if anything seemed like she was excited to help us. So we really enjoyed that. So both me and my wife gave it a 4 out of 5 for options. I did feel like there was a lot of options myself, but it was mostly seafood related. There was very little options I would personally want to select, but there's still a large array of options. And there were some things that I was interested to order still. And my wife said that on top of the large option, she said a lot of the options that she would like, there was a good variety of the kind of things she'd expect when she'd go to this kind of store. So that is relevant. So me and my wife gave it a 3 out of 5 for wait time. Now our order took less than 45 minutes, which is good. That's actually a fairly good time. We may have given it a 4 out of 5, considering we did order quite a bit. But other people that came in after us and ordered received their food first. And we understand that their food may be easier to make or faster prepare or whatever. But it does make you feel like your food's taking longer when you're watching others get their food first. And there was at least two other tables we noticed got their food before us, and they ordered after. So, for presentation, I gave it a 3 out of 5, and I had nothing really noteworthy to say other than I thought my wife's, I forget what it's called, but like the box meal thing she had, I thought that looked kind of nice. But my wife, despite giving it a 4 out of 5 for presentation, she did mention that the Takeout balls, or I forget how you pronounce it, I'm sure someone can correct me in the comments. She said they looked burnt and like they had a little less sauce and flakes than normal. So she said those seemed unappealing to look at. Now for portion size, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Um, the portion sizes I thought were very good for the meals and stuff. Like when I ate, there was leftover, and me and my wife both took home doggy bags home for pretty much all the food we had ordered. So I think that's a good indicator that there was a lot of food available. As well as they gave us appetizers, which just provided with more food in general. So I think that should be included in the portion sizes. Now my wife gave it a 4 out of 5, and she had no real comments, so she thought it was good too, though. Now for taste, you're going to notice a pretty big variation between me and my wife's score, and that's probably going to come down to mostly that I don't care for this kind of food, where my wife really likes it. That being said, I ordered beef teriyaki, and I gave my score out of 2 out of 5. I did try all the food, but the beef teriyaki would be the thing I'd be most likely to like. And I guess compared to other things, I didn't like it. Like, I thought the beef tasted a little odd. My wife did comment and say she thought it tasted normal, but for me, I didn't like it or the other food. It seemed prepared appropriately, though, so I don't think it's anything of the food itself or the way they prepared it. Like, I don't think they prepared it bad, just not the kind of food I like. Now, for my wife, she gave it a 3.5 out of 5. But her comment was she thought the balls she had weren't very good. She was kind of disappointed in the quality. She said they tasted a little off, and they looked and tasted burnt or whatever. But she said the rest of the food she thought tasted really good and really enjoyed the other food. So there's that. Now, in regards to cost, I'm going to show the receipt somewhere here soon, as well as probably at some point in this video, I'm going to be showing the menu so you guys can see the price of the menu and the things on it. Sorry if the images aren't great. But I personally thought it was a 2.5 out of 5 for the cost. That being said, I guess you do get the appetizers, which adds the value a little better. But my wife gave it a 3.5 out of 5. There's not really much to comment. You guys will be able to see the visible cost yourself and compared to the food. And you'll also see pictures of the food itself, so you'll know the portion size and stuff like that. So you guys can make a judgment whether or not you think our scores are appropriate. Now for the final category, which is called Other, I gave it a 3 out of 5. I did really appreciate the free appetizers. I thought that left a big impact on me. I know it's not a lot, but there were 2 different appetizers with 2 different variations of flavor, and they were a decent size. So I kind of like gave you more options. At least that's how I felt about it. Better than like going somewhere and just getting like a breadstick or a couple of breadsticks or something. You know what I mean? Now they did ask for. The machine did ask me for a tip, and I know this is just a gripe apparently I have. I hate when machines or people ask me for tips. If I'm going to tip you, I think it should be of my own desire. I shouldn't be reminded. But that's a small gripe, I guess. So 3 out of 5 for me. And my wife, she gave a 4 out of 5, and she had the same opinion on the appetizers. She thought they really added to the overall experience quite positively. Now to tie this whole video up and everything, I'm going to talk about the overall scores. And we're going to break it down for mine, my wife's together, online, and then all of them combined together. I'd like to point out, too, that the scores may seem maybe low to some people, because I think, or often in society, we see scores for reviews and things from critics very high or very low, and not really in between. But I guess anything 60 and above, I think you should consider a good location to go to. 80 and above should be like an amazing location. And equally, if it's 40 and below, you consider it a lower end quality. And 20 and below, you should probably avoid. Now, that being said, I've converted all the scores, I added them up, and then I've converted them over to percents out of 100. So for mine, it's a 68% out of 100. I'll just call them percents from here out. You'll know it's out of 100. For my wife, it's a 76%. So mine's 68%, hers is 76%. Combine them together and you get a 72%. So obviously both of us consider it a good quality place to go overall. That's including all the factors. Now, talking about the online reviews, I went to 2 different locations and compiled the reviews because it showed you on the side all of them, so I just added them up or whatever. And then the both places I checked it out of 5 as well. but they obviously only scored everything overall. They didn't break anything down to categories. So I just assumed everyone took these things into consideration, even though we know online reviews aren't really like that. But anyways, theirs was 90%. So the people online reviewing their place have a very high opinion of them. Now, if you combine mine and my wife's in the online reviews, you end up with an 80%. So that's really good, 80%. And I think to end this video, we just need to say it's a really good location. Go try it out yourself, especially if you're into sushi and Japanese. So yeah, have a good day, everybody.